Okay, so here it is, the one that I think most people have been waiting for. It's the Mi Mix. Now, it's that concept phone that has the bezel-less, well, I should actually say bezel-less design, because it still has a little bit of a bezel there. And it's not the first mobile phone to actually do this. The first one was the Sharp Aguas, I think how you pronounce it. But this one looks quite good, quite interesting, 6.4-inch screen. So I picked this up from a seller called Goldway, and they are on AliExpress, and they did a pretty good job of getting this to me so quick. So let's start here. We're just getting it out of the packet. I have not opened this before. So you can see that is wrapped up really well with this bubble protection wrap. So should have no damage whatsoever. Let's find the easiest way to get into this. Okay, so it is fully factory sealed. No one should have touched this before. So the seller did include a US to EU adapter there for me. They always do that because the plugs they use are the straight two-prong US style one. Alright, so easiest way to get into this, I think, is just going to be ripping it open. Okay, so the version I have here, you can hopefully see just on the side there, 128 gigabyte version. Now there's a 256 gigabyte version that also has 6 gigabytes of RAM, and it has a gold accent around the camera. So if you want a little bit more bling on it, then that's the model probably to go for. So how on earth you open this box? I do not know. Oh, there was an arrow there. Okay. Oh, slides out. Okay, fancy. First time I've seen this from Xiaomi. So it's powered by a Snapdragon 821. And the storage on it is UFS 2.0 spec. So that's faster storage. Faster than the usual typical eMMC storage you see. Alright, so that I think folds out. How does this? Very fancy. So there is the mobile there. So this edging around it, that is ceramic. I'll look at the mobile in just a second. I just want to have a look what else we have here in these compartments. All right, it folds out. And then we have a case, of course, here, which is a nice little addition. So this case has a suede, felt, fake leather kind of interior there. It feels nice. And in fact, I think this is made out of leather. It says Mix on there, you can see, and very nice. Feels good. That feels like a premium case. It's a nice little extra in there. What else is in here? So that, okay, charger, cable. I can get this out. So here's the charger, and it is rated. This will be Qualcomm Quick Charge 3 charger to 12 volts, 1.5 amps there. And then the cable, which I wonder if it's actually black. No, it's white. Okay, should have been black. So that's a Type-C cable, of course. Get that out of the way. And what else do we have in here? So Mix. That's your instruction leaflet thing. That is all in Chinese. Pretty much useless to me. And then we have the SIM tool. Now the SIM tray, it takes 2 nano SIMs, no micro SD card support. Unfortunately, they're still keeping with that, which I do believe is a bit of an error there. They should be including micro SD card support. Then you can expand on the storage. All right, so now to have a look at the mobile. So it has a ceramic build that actually feels heavier than I thought it would be. Just looking at the images I saw when this was announced. And along the bottom, you can see there's the Type-C port. Now this will just have one speaker here, and the other one would be a microphone if it's set up similar to other Xiaomi devices. So there's the SIM tray there. I'll show you that later in just a second. So all ceramic, and the buttons now on the right hand side, so volume up and down, power, and those also are made out of ceramic. We do have a secondary microphone, and in fact 2 microphones there on the top, and the 3.5mm headphone jack. Of course, they haven't done something silly like Apple and go and remove that. All right, so get these protective covers off. Now this does actually, that feels At the moment, my hands are warm, so it doesn't really feel too slippery, but I know that if I have cold hands and dry hands, that this is going to be very easy to drop. So looking at the back of it now, we've got a 16 megapixel camera, dual tone LED flash, and then the rear fingerprint reader right here. Now these stickers that Xiaomi put on, they're super annoying to remove, and I tend to just leave them on. But when you try and remove them, it always leaves behind a residue. It's such a pain. So that's why I'm not going to take it off for now. Very nice build to it. This thing does feel really, really good. So let's get this powered on so I can have a look at this great looking screen. So down the bottom is the front facing 5 megapixel camera, an odd arrangement, and the earpiece, you'll see it's missing. So how do we actually hear voice calls then? Well, they've got a system where it actually resonates the sound through the ceramics, so you will be able to hear calls. Now I will be testing that out later to see if the call quality is going to be affected by this. Alright, so that actually looks very, very nice, but yes, there's bezel there, you can see. And I have absolutely no charge, it's all in Chinese. So why didn't that go through the initial setup? That's a little odd. Maybe it has been powered on before and then factory wrapped or sealed. So I'm going to have to find the settings. So you can see lots of Chinese apps here, and I'm getting all these alerts and pop-ups because this is the Chinese version. All right, so I need to find settings and language. Which one is it? I need to put this in English. And I think it's this one here, additional settings and the top setting. Maybe not. Hang on, this one. English, finally. So that's how you do it. If you get one of these and it boots up in Chinese, that's how you do it. So swiping down, that's easy enough here. You can see I've got a few notifications there. That's going to always happen with the Chinese ROM, but you can stop these. You can block them. I think you hold it down, show notifications, get rid of that. So a few things that are different here. We don't have any more hardware navigation keys. They're software, so that's why the resolution is a little different here. So it's 2048 by 1080p. And the reason that is because we now have, of course, this to cater for the on-screen menu buttons this time around. So that's why that is a little different, because I didn't have room for that. So at least that is now in English. And have a look at and see if there's a bit of, I'm a little bit concerned about palm rejection or finger rejection from having my hand there, whether the software is going to take that into consideration. It seems like it does. You can see I've got my thumb there and I'm still able to swipe it around in the launcher. Now the launcher, of course, this is MIUI 8, their own custom skin on top of Android 6.0, have a look, 6.0.1. And the current firmware version is MIUI 8.0.7. I will check that out later. You can see that the processor, that's the Snapdragon 821, and it has the full clock speed, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and I have 118 gigabytes free of the 128 gigabytes of internal storage. I'll connect up to the internet later on and check for system updates. So quickly just going to go into the camera app here, have a very quick look at it. Now that does look nice, having the viewfinder and seeing that just without the bezels. I just want to put something in here to take a photo of. So that's my Lee Pro 3. Okay, and the modes we get are the standard modes you see on MIUI 8. So manual mode as well, at least we can tweak there. The exposure times, the ISO, focus, white balance, video mode. Let's have a look. Okay, so slow motion and time lapse, the only two settings there. That is typical. And the video quality goes all the way up to 4K. But there is no optical image stabilization, electronic or digital stabilization on this mobile, unfortunately, unlike the Mi Note 2, which I will have a review of very shortly. So just get out of that. My habit is to actually touch here for the hardware buttons and not the software ones. So looking at the screen again, just want to bring it up to maximum brightness. That is probably going to overpower my camera. Seems very bright, very nice viewing angles, and overall the sharpness to me looks very decent, good, not bad. So I just wanted to do a quick size comparison now against some other devices. and we'll have a look and see how it is size-wise. So this is the 6.44-inch Mi Max, and you can see here that having them side by side, that this is indeed a lot smaller. So not bad. Thickness-wise, about the same thickness. And this is the Mi Note 2, which released days before the Mi Mix. Now I do have a review of that one coming up if you are interested. I'm also giving away one of these. So if you want to be in to win this one, then make sure you check out the link in the description. So you see, it's actually not too bad considering this is a 6.4-inch screen. I'm finding that that is really good because this is 5.7-inch. And here's a 5.5-inch Lee Pro 3. And yeah, I think this size could be manageable. And my S6 Edge Plus there, which has a 5.7-inch screen. Now the build quality, I would say, feels every bit premium, definitely compared to the Samsung, compared to everything else. I mean, this is really nice. Very nice, but it is a fingerprint magnet. Look at that already, it's just covered in smears and streaks, and I've literally only had this for a matter of 5-10 minutes. So I'm really glad that they have included this quite premium case because it is really quite a slippery device. So let's have a look and see how that fits in there. It just clips in. And that's going to give some protection to the screen as well because it's actually raised up and a little bit higher. So if you lie that down flat on a table, then the screen shouldn't get scratched there, and that gives, you can see, plenty of protection to the camera and even the LED flash there. So that's not a bad case, keeping the speaker and the microphone there free, of course. And on the top, the gaps are perfectly cut out for the dual microphones and the 3.5mm jack there. So really nice case, it feels good. Now this gives some grip to it, and it doesn't take away too much from that bezel-less design. And the way they have handled the buttons there is quite nice too. So there's no actual gaps there for dust or anything to get in around the buttons, and they work fine. All right, so the thickness of it, let's have a look. It's 8mm, not bad. And let's have a look at that bezel. So I'm going to measure the bezel from where the screen starts to the end. That is about 2mm. I mean, that is really small, so not much bezel there. And when you do have this black background, you can see that it just makes it look even almost like it does have no bezel. So how much does it weigh? 211 grams. So that isn't the lightest mobile phone out there, but then of course I think it could be the ceramic, the build, that's adding to the weight. So bear that in mind. If you don't like bigger, heavier mobiles, then you might want to consider something else. So it has one loudspeaker on the bottom here. I'm just going to play a track here from carbon-based Lifeforms that don't give me any copyright problems, and we'll have a listen to how that sounds. Okay, that sounds quite loud. There's a little bit of bass to it. I'd rate that as a fairly decent loudspeaker that they've put in there. So over in landscape mode now, I just wanted to test out the keyboard. Now this is the default stock keyboard they install, and it's well, it's a Chinese keyboard. So what I normally do is dump this and install Google Keyboard as soon as I can get Play installed. And also wanted to point out as well, you do have this little one finger control here, so you can bring this up and you can use that as the menu keys there. So now I can just go back and I can bring up the menu right there. So recent apps right from there, select and swap over to something else. And that makes one hand operation a little bit easier. So you can see you can do it like this. So boom, you can lock the screen, cut there. Oh, that's a screenshot, I think. Yeah, so that's a screenshot one. And then very simple. So the home button, all quick access there. So it's not too bad. That little feature just makes it easier to use it with one hand. And then tapping it will bring that back down to the navigation bar. So here's the micro SD card slot, and it's only taking 2 nano SIMs there, so no micro SD card, but you could say that with the 256GB version, you should have plenty of space for storage. But even so, it would still be nice to be able to just go along and use my 128GB card and put that into it, but I can't. So most of this junk on here that you don't want with the Chinese ROM version can actually be uninstalled, most of it, but it's pre-installed. But for example, this one app, whatever that is, uninstall, gone forever until I do a factory reset. Now, if you don't want any of the Chinese stuff in there, you do have to get the global version. So you get the global ROM, and then it won't have anything else. It removes all the Chinese from there. Now, Play Store isn't here by default, so they don't put Play Store on there. You need to install that yourself later on, but it's as easy as moving a APK file onto the phone, running that, then installing Play Services, Play Store, etc. And you can get all that working just like a regular phone here. So the toggles and the notifications are all in one at the top. Actually, you can see I've got an update here too come through, and one of the modes I do like is read mode. So read mode's very handy at night time. So if you're looking at websites or something, you don't want to keep yourself awake. That removes the blue light filter, and various other tweaks here. So even in the display, you can go along and you can tweak the contrast, colors and contrast. So automatic, you can increase the contrast to make it look oversaturated. Standard mode 2 is what I normally just like to keep it on, or if you prefer the tweak it as well, you can go along with your more cool white, more warm white. That's all possible with the display. And double tap to wake. That is a handy feature that LG brought in some time ago, and that works well. So as you saw in the start of the video, the fingerprint reader's on the back there, and I have set up one fingerprint, and now it's locked. Lock it again, unlock. Seems to be quite quick, and what I like about it is you don't actually have to wake up the Mi Mix first, it's just a straightaway unlock. Something the Mi Note 2 doesn't have. You must wake that one first and then you can scan, but that seems to be working flawlessly. So the batteries are rather large, 4,400 milliamp hour one. I'll be testing that out on my review to see how long that lasts, and you can see at the moment when I'm charging, the status LED location is actually just right here in the middle of the bottom of the chin of the mobile, you could say. So I'm going to have a look now and see how the rear camera performs and the front-facing camera, see if they are any good. Normally this is the Achilles heel of the Chinese flagships. Normally the cameras, they just aren't like your iPhone 7 or your Galaxy S7. Now the front-facing camera is a 5 megapixel camera, and the aperture is the same as the rear cameras, so it's 2.0, and it can shoot at 1080p. Now the quality seems alright. I mean, I don't have direct sunlight anymore. The sun's just gone behind the mountain, and yeah, it's not bad. But I have to be careful with the location of the camera. It's very easy for my finger to get in the view, you can see there. And depending on how you're going to hold it, there'll be an increased chance of dropping it, I feel, if you're not using that case, because it's so slippery and I'm trying to get my fingers out of the way of the front-facing camera. So here's a sample shot in 4K from the rear 16 megapixel camera that has an aperture of 2.0. Now it does have face detection autofocus. Unfortunately there is no optical image stabilization or digital, which is a shame. This is a flagship, but it should have really had at least something to help take the shake out of the video footage here. So I'll just test the focus now. Seem to have done a reasonably good job there. Now I wonder if the bit rate is still 95 kilobits per second. You can see there was a little bit of panning in and out, so breathing. There you can see it's going in and out, so it looks like it's going to have a few focus problems there on the rear camera, sadly. Alright, so that's the Mi Mix, that's my unboxing video. My first impressions are very, very positive. I'm really liking this design. This is mobiles moving forward, and I do like the direction that Xiaomi are heading as of recent. So it feels very premium, but it also feels fragile. I expect this to just shatter in a second if I drop it, and it's going to be very slippery. It's a little awkward with the front-facing camera, as you saw from my sample there, and cameras are going to be the weakness, like most Chinese phones on this model. It doesn't have, by the looks of it, a particularly good 16 megapixel camera. In fact, I think it's the same one that's in my Mi Max, and I can say straight away that if it is the same one, that it's not wonderful. But it does the job. But you don't have optical image stabilization there. So if you want a very camera-centric mobile with the best image quality, then this probably isn't the one to get. But if you want a mobile that has got a, you could say, cutting-edge design, definitely this is the one. Very nice 1080p panel on there too. I am impressed so far with this. So I'll be putting it through all my paces. I'm going to install some benchmarks, get it really hot, gaming as well. I will have a gaming review later on. So if you're interested in seeing those videos, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Keep an eye on the Mi Mix playlist, and hopefully I'll catch you soon.